Hi my frogs, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be reading chapter 3 of This Side of Paradise, A Mother's Lullaby by Scoregirl on AO3. The rating is teen and up audiences, and the archive warning is graphic depictions of violence, so if you're uncomfortable with that, please by chance choose another video. I wouldn't want you guys to be uncomfortable. This fic has 132,543 words and a grand total of 76 chapters, and this is the part 1 of the Chambers of Reflection series. And if my voice sounds off, it is because I go through congestion right now with this bullshit called pine pollen. Hopefully you can ignore that if I sound off. Anyway, let's dive into it. Chapter 3, The Sweetest Flame. Enji Todoroki sat in his quiet corner of the living room, observing the scene that had become so familiar over the past few months. Rei sitting cross-legged on the floor, cradling Toya in her arms, a soft smile gracing her lips. Her voice bright and cheerful filled the room as she chatted endlessly with their son, talking about the weather, news, even stories of ancient samurais and demon slayers. It was surreal to witness this side of her, this warmth that had appeared so suddenly after Toya's birth. Toya, for his part, was the very picture of innocence. His little face lit up as Rei spoke, his chubby hands reaching for her hair and the edge of her kimono, giggling at the sounds and faces she made. He was a sweet baby, more than Enji had expected. Toya babbled and squealed, the high-pitched sound of his baby voice filling the house with a joy Enji had never quite known. It was endearing, adorable even. And yet, as Enji watched them, there was a flicker of unease in his chest. He glanced down at his hands, trying to ignore the tight knot of concern that had settled in his gut. The truth was, despite how normal things seemed, he couldn't shake the sight of those tiny, sharp fangs Toya had been born with. Two delicate but unmistakable fangs poking through his gums. The doctors hadn't found anything concerning their tests, but Enji couldn't help but wonder, would it affect his quirk? Was there something deeper? Something they weren't seeing yet? He knew Rei noticed them too. She didn't even seem concerned. She brushed it off as though it was nothing. And in her current state, Enji didn't want to ruin things by bringing it up again. Over the past few months, Rei had always been unrecognizable from the stoic, cold woman she used to be. There was a lightness to her, now a bubbly energy that spilled over in her interactions with Toya. She was always laughing, always taking to their son as if he understood every word. The way she told them about heroes, about old tales of warriors who fought demons and saved villages. It was captivating, and she had caught himself listening more than once, mesmerized by the passion in her voice when she spoke out of those ancient heroes. And then Toya, she said, her gray eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. The brave samurai raised his sword against the demon. Do you want to know what happened next? Toya gurgled in response, his tiny hands waving in the air as if he was trying to grasp the story itself. Rei laughed, a sound so light and musical it seemed to brighten the entire room. That's right, the samurai defeated the demon, saving the entire village. One day you'll be strong and brave like that too, won't you, my little hero? Enji felt a pang in his chest at those words. He wanted that for Toya too, to be strong, to be a hero, but with the weight of his expectations and the pressure of his own ambitions felt suddenly heavy on his shoulders. He didn't want to break the spell of the moment, this beautiful interaction between mother and child. He leaned back in his chair, letting out a quiet breath. He wasn't sure if he was doing the right thing. As a father, he was supposed to be responsible, to think ahead, plan for Toya's future. His son's quirks, the fangs, everything about Toya's potential was supposed to be his priority. But the idea of ruining Rei's happiness and pulling her away from the joy she seemed to find in caring for Toya weighed him down more than in the unknowns about their son. Toya giggled, reaching for Rei's face with wide eyes, full of wonder. He was so small, so innocent, yet it felt almost ridiculous to worry about things like quirks and power right now. Toya was just a baby, a sweet, babbling, bright-eyed baby who loved to hear his mother's voice and play with her hair. What kind of father am I? Enji thought bitterly, his gaze softening as he looked at them. He wanted to be a good father, the kind who protected his family, the kind who provided and guided his children with strength and wisdom. But for now, was it so wrong to let them enjoy this time? To let Ray laugh and talk to Toya without worrying about the future? He pushed the thoughts of quirks and power aside. For now, Toya was happy and healthy, and Ray was glowing with life, more vibrant than he had ever seen her before. He didn't want to be the one to take that away. Ray's voice cut through U's thoughts again, soft and musical as she told Toya about another hero from the past. Her laughter was infectious, and soon Toya was squealing in delight, clapping his tiny hands. "Isn't that right, Toya?" Ray cooed, pressing a kiss to the top of his head. "You're going to be strong and brave like the heroes of old." Enji's heart squeezed. He wanted that too. For Toya to grow up strong, for their family to remain close, for this warmth to never fade. But then in the midst of Ray's laughter and Toya happy babbles, it happened. Meh. The word was quiet, a little garbled but unmistakable. Enji froze, his breath catching in his throat. Ray stopped, her eyes widening as she stared down at their son, a look of disbelief on her face. Meh. Toya repeated, this time a little louder, his tiny hands reaching for Ray's face with an expression of pure delight. The room felt silent for a moment, as if the world itself had paused to witness this milestone. Then Ray's eyes began to shimmer with tears welling up and spilling over her cheeks. Her lips trembled as she tried to form words, but overcome with emotion. "Oh, Toya," she whispered, her voice cracking with a mixture of joy and something deeper, something that seemed to reach beyond the present moment. "You said Mama." She pulled Toya close, pressing her forehead against her tears. Falling onto his chubby cheeks. Toya, sensing her shift in mood, reached up with his tiny hands to pat her face, babbling "Mama" over and over, as if he knew exactly how much it meant to her. Ray laughed, her tears a sound so full and pure of unbridled happiness that it made Enji's chest ache. He had never seen her like this, so open, so vulnerable, so completely and utterly filled with love. "That's right, my sweet boy," Ray said, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm your mama, and I'll always be here for you. I'll always protect you. I promise." She spoke. She began to hum that familiar lullaby, her voice wavering slightly but growing stronger with each note. Pinky promise, your mother will protect you. I will protect you, I promise you that, until you get big and strong. Enji felt his own eyes stinging, with a lump forming in his throat. He wasn't a man given to displays of emotion, but this moment, it was hitting him in ways he hadn't expected. The sight of Ray, usually so composed, now weeping with joy as she held their son, singing her promise of protection, it stirred something deep within him. He stood up slowly, moving towards them, his heart heavy yet full. As he approached, Ray looked up at him, her face streaked with tears but radiant with happiness. "Enji," she said softly, reaching out a hand to him. "Did you hear? He said Mama." Enji nodded, unable to trust his voice. He knelt down beside them, placing one large hand on Toya's head and the other on Ray's shoulder. "He did," Enji managed to say, his voice gruff with suppressed emotion. "He's growing up so fast." Ray leaned into his touch, and still cradling Toya close. "He is," she agreed, her voice filled with wonder. "But no matter how big he gets, no matter what challenges he faces, we'll always be there for him, won't we, Enji?" Enji looked at his wife and son, feeling a surge of protectiveness and love that almost overwhelmed him. In that moment, his worries about quirks and fangs and the future seemed to fade away. What mattered was this, his family together, happy. "Yes," he said, with his voice firm with resolve. "We'll be there, always." As Toya babbled meh again, reaching out to grab Enji's finger with surprising strength. Enji felt a smile tugging at his lips. Maybe, just maybe, everything would be okay. Whatever the future held, whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together as a family. As for now, that was enough. Okay, my frogs, so that was chapter 3 of This Side of Paradise. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, just make sure to go leave comments and kudos for the creator, Score Girl, on AO3. I was like, this is an amazing work.